Dan, what do you say to this reported policy that Social Security Administration was considering to force people to verify their identity online or in person when all this time they've been able to do it on the phone?
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a train wreck for some of the most vulnerable people that Social Security serves.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, right now, um, about 40% of individuals apply for benefits and verify their identity over the phone rather than in person. And a lot of these folks are either elderly or people with disabilities. And so many of them are not in a position that they don't either have the capacity or the access to identify themselves and apply for benefits online. And so their only option is either to do it on the phone or in person. So what has been described in this March 13th memo from the Deputy Commissioner of the Social Security Administration, Diaz, is that individuals in this situation would be forced, rather than do this over the phone, which, by the way, is a multi-layered process in which there's lots of different pieces of information and different layers to ensure the identity of the people who call on the phone. So there's not really an existing problem in terms of fraud being committed when people apply for benefits by phone and identify who they are, because there's so many safeguards involved. And it's very rare for this fraud to any kind of fraud to be happening in this process of identifying oneself on the phone and applying for benefits. So it's a solution in search of a problem. There's not a problem here, but Elon Musk and his delusions about fraud at the Social Security Administration side is a priority for him. But the problem is that on one hand, he wants everyone to come in who can't do it online to apply and identify themselves, to come in to field offices and talk to real people to perform this function. On the other hand, he's going to cut about 7,000 staff people, about 13% of the current Social Security Administration workforce. He's going to close a bunch of field offices. So on one hand, he wants them to come into field offices and identify who they are. But on the other hand, the access is even going to get worse than it is right now, where you have to make an appointment to see somebody. And if you're going to be closing a lot of offices, and if you're going to have a lot fewer staff, it's going to mean for some individuals that they just are going to be denied access to apply for benefits, verify who they are, and as a result, they're not going to get their benefits.
Musk's allegations of fraud at the Social Security Administration have so far been thoroughly knocked down and debunked.
Right.
So, even though he claims this is all about fraud, what do you think it's really about?
Well, it's really about undermining confidence in the agency, and also to do it for several purposes. One is to privatize the agency, to take the functions that are currently provided by federal workers at the Social Security Administration and to contract that out to the private sector. And again, there's not a problem there. There's no problem to be fixed because they've done an admirable job for the nearly 90 years that the program and the agency has been in existence. And then there's two other reasons. One is to try to soften up the program by undermining public confidence in it, so that lawmakers will be in a stronger position to weather the storm of making trying to legislate unpopular proposals to cut benefits or privatize or both the program.
And it's not really a surprise given that Musk has demonstrated open hostility to Social Security itself, right? Just a couple weeks ago, he called it a Ponzi scheme, right?
Right. Yeah, and there it couldn't be anything further from the truth. The Ponzi scheme is a legal criminal operation that results in, it's a pyramid scheme. It's so that people who are on the front end investors, they make money, but anybody who invests later loses their shirt. Well, in the nearly 90-year history of the program, not a single Social Security payment has been missed. It's a system that works very well, and that's why Social Security is such a popular program, and why beneficiaries see the payments they get as earned benefits.
Now, clearly, Elon Musk and Doge are doing this with the consent of President Trump. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. President Trump promised not to touch Social Security. What do we make of President Trump's promise right now?
Well, he's breaking his promise because he's setting up a situation where if he was successful in undermining public confidence in the program, we could see poll numbers for the popularity of Social Security go down, and then make it easier for lawmakers who want to cut it. And then he can say, "Oh, well, obviously, it's not as popular as I once thought it was, and so I'm not really held to my promise of not cutting the program, so I'm going to cut or privatize it."
A lot of people out in the country are concerned and angry about what's going on. We've started to see grassroots protests popping up against this interference in Social Security. What can everyday people do if they are upset about this, if they want to push back?
Well, they definitely need their members of Congress, their representative and you two U.S. senators know how concerned they are and how much they object to what Elon Musk and Doge are doing at the Social Security Administration. They're concerned about that they've heard stories from the former commissioner of Social Security, Martin O'Malley, and the chief of staff to the acting Social Security Administration commissioner, that based on all these mass layoffs and forced retirements and firings at the Social Security, that there could very well be interruptions in payment. They may need to get that message across to members of Congress so they do their job and they conduct oversight over the agency. And they should get involved in things like rallies and protests against what's happening. In fact, if they happen to live in the Baltimore area, there's quite a few being done directly at the Social Security Administration headquarters, which is in the suburb of Woodlawn in Baltimore, to go to those rallies, to participate in them. And the other thing that they should consider is creating a My Social Security account if they already haven't. It's a way for you to see your earnings record, how much money you've paid FICA taxes on. And one of the concerns is that Doge will either on purpose or accidentally delete earning records. And so those records may go away. So the only way you can ensure that you're going to get your future Social Security beneficiary benefits is to make your own copy of those benefits, either by downloading the page that has your earning history or making a paper copy of it.
Great advice, Dan. Thanks so much. And of course, we'll continue to watch this.
Sounds great. Thanks, Walter.